Hello, everybody. I'm Ricky Smith. Welcome to Faith on Friday Presents. At Faith on Friday Presents, our goal is to drive motivation by closing the door to the comfort zone, to facilitate inspiration by exploring what's possible, and to also create transformation by challenging those very negative mindsets. While you're here, don't forget to like and subscribe and share this information and content with your friends on your networks. We appreciate everything that you do to help Faith on Friday grow. Today, you all, we are going to talk about something you don't hear a lot about, but you probably want to. What about fundraising? I know we all do it, and especially if you are part of a nonprofit. You are out shaking trees, shaking hands, kissing babies, doing everything you can to bring in the money. Have you ever thought about grant writing? Have you thought about hiring somebody to write a grant for you to get money for your purpose, your program, your passion, and your purpose? Well, today I want to introduce you to somebody who does grant writing, and she's going to tell us all about it. Everybody, please say hello to Jennifer Smith. Hi, Jennifer. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing well, Ricky. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm really thrilled to be here.
Oh my gosh, I'm excited to have you because this is one of
Mm,
those topics that people hear about, but we know very
mm.
little about. But Jennifer, before we get started, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and where you are located?
Yes, I'm happy to do that. I live in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. I was born and raised here in Iowa. After college, I moved to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and lived in Wisconsin for 30 years, where I was a public school teacher for almost 19 of
Wow.
those years. And during COVID, I segued into fundraising for nonprofits. I had an opportunity to take a year off of teaching and discovered I really loved fundraising. And one of the areas I discovered that a lot of nonprofits need support with is grant writing. So in May of 2021, I started my own grant consulting business. And I work with small to mid-sized nonprofits around the country, helping
Mhm.
them find funding they need to grow their mission.
Wow. There's so much in that. I mean,
Mm.
first of all, you were a school teacher for almost 30
Mm.
years. I feel like I need to say thank you for your service. I mean,
Oh, thank you, Ricky.
yeah, being somebody's school teacher is not easy, especially in this day and age with the way that things are going. So after 30 years, you went from teaching in the classroom, I'm guessing, to fundraising. Okay, that's just such
Mm.
a different thing to do because fundraising takes
Mm.
a lot. Who did you start
Mm.
fundraising for, and how did you start that? Why did you think that was going to be fun?
Yeah, great question. Yes, in 2020, in the midst of the pandemic, one of the longtime nonprofits I'd been a member of, Voces de la Frontera in Milwaukee, had
Mhm.
reached out to me to ask if I would be willing to take on their fundraising needs for a year
Wow.
because their fund development director needed to leave for family
Hmm.
reasons. So
Sure.
that person moved out of state. And so they hired me for a year. I was able
Okay.
to take a year off of teaching and I did all things fundraising, helping them figure out how to do an online gala, how to
Wow.
figure out creating a sustaining membership program, helped a little bit with grant writing, and a lot of other virtual fundraising opportunities
Okay.
so that they could
Hmm.
keep the doors open.
Yeah.
And through that year, I discovered that I really loved fundraising because it aligned with my values of
Yeah.
wanting to give back to the community, of having a greater impact in the world. And while I loved teaching for a lot of years, I was to the point where I needed a change. My son had just left for college. I was an empty
Mm.
nester and
Yeah.
wanting to see what else was out there for me
Wow.
in the next chapter in my life. So I was so thrilled that Losis was able to give me that opportunity. And then
It
after
sounds
that
like it.
year, I
Hmm.
was able to segue into creating a grant
Your own
consulting
business.
business.
Wow.
Mhm.
So you went from fundraising. See, now I, like most people probably watching, think that fundraising is pretty much knocking on doors and asking people for money. But you
Mm,
said there's a lot of other things going on. You were doing online fundraising and things like that. So tell us a little bit
mhm,
about the fundraising you did before you started writing the grants. And the reason I ask that is
mm,
because a lot of people who have nonprofits, they don't yet understand the concept of grant writing. They will after this interview. So they're doing all the
mm,
other things. What other things did you
mm.
do to raise funds for this nonprofit?
Yes, another great question. So, yes, so online galas, helping them determine how to create a sustaining membership program where they would have individual donors giving monthly. And those were small donors all the way up to, mid to larger size
Sure.
donors where
Hmm.
they had monthly giving. And
Hmm.
that was another funding stream that was really
Okay.
helpful for the
Yeah.
organization. And the other piece to it too was figuring out other ways to increase funding. So
Yeah.
grant writing is certainly a big part of fundraising, but the
Hmm.
other piece is figuring out high-end donors within one's community to figure out how to get them excited about the mission and help them understand how their legacy can impact a
Yeah.
nonprofit and the incredible work that's happening in their communities. So
Yeah.
there's a
Wow.
lot to nonprofit fundraising
Yeah, it
that I
sounds
found
like it.
fascinating. Yeah,
I'm
really
fast.
learned a lot that
I'm
year.
listening to you right now. I'm like, really? I did not know. So
Mm,
then you made this
mhm,
jump to grant writing. Now, a lot of us,
mhm,
we understand the concept of grant writing.
mhm,
We
mhm.
know very little about it. So I'm about to show my ignorance. So please be kind.
Mm,
So
of
grant writing,
course.
is it government money that you're getting when you're writing a grant?
Mm, it could be. There
Okay.
are a lot of different funding opportunities for grants. There's local funding that could be from a community foundation. Every single state in the country have community foundations. So, for
Okay.
example, here in Cedar Rapids, it's called the Greater Cedar Rapids Community Foundation.
Hmm.
And so they have funding for nonprofits in our region. And
Okay.
there's a number of community foundations around the state of Iowa. And as I mentioned, that's countrywide. So
Yeah.
community foundations are a really valuable source of funding, as well
Hmm.
as great support for nonprofit leaders because they provide a lot of
Oh,
workshops and networking opportunities throughout the year.
okay.
Other local funding opportunities can be corporations and
Mhm.
companies. Many corporations and businesses, particularly larger ones, have
Mhm.
their own foundation and
Okay.
give back to the community in
Mm,
that way.
right.
The other is family foundations. There are
Okay.
hundreds of thousands of family foundations across the country
Uh-huh.
that give funding to local as well as regional, and some give
Mm-hmm.
national grants for
Wow.
nonprofits that are aligned with their mission.
Sure.
So there's a lot of funding out there, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
really a matter of tapping into that. To your point about
Mm-hmm.
grants from governments.
Mm-hmm.
There's city government grants, county, state, and federal grants. So there's also a lot of money in the governmental arena as
Yeah.
well. However, right now, as we know, at the federal level, there's
Yeah.
a lot of flux
We
with
have no
that.
idea
It's
what's happening.
unclear. We're not, yes. So it's
Right.
really unclear about federal funding. However,
Mm-hmm.
there's still maybe grants available at your local county and state level. So
Okay.
don't rule that out if
Okay.
you are looking for grants.
So that begs this question then. How do you go about finding where this money is?
Yes. So that is really key to finding
Mm-hmm.
grants that align with your mission. And
Mm-hmm.
so, one great way to do that is to go to your public library. Many have online research uh, grant opportunities that you can
Right.
plug into. So, for example, Foundation Directory or Grant Station, many of them subscribe to those research
Okay.
platforms. So you
Mm-hmm.
can go and let them know you want to do the research and then plug in all your information. And then it generates foundations from across the
Oh,
country that you
wow.
may be eligible for. So
Okay.
that's really very useful.
Now that's
Your
helpful.
community,
Mm-hmm.
oh, good.
Yeah.
Also, community foundations.
Mm-hmm.
Reach out, go Google your nearest community
Google.
foundation, and
Mm-hmm.
yes, find out where the nearest community foundation is. Reach out to them. Let
Mm-hmm.
them know that you're looking for funding because a number of companies use the community foundation as their source of
Oh,
going, yeah, of sorting through all of the grant applications and so forth. So
okay.
they're the intermediary for some companies. And the other
Wow.
way too is to make a list of companies and corporations in your area.
Mm-hmm.
Also churches, because national organizations
Yeah.
at the national level for churches
Mm-hmm.
have foundations as well. So
Okay.
start local
Man.
and then branch out from
Okay.
there.
Now, you
People
said
do
something
so.
I thought was really interesting. You said some companies use these various search engines to find, to pour through these grant applications. Are there
Mhm.
companies and businesses and things that are looking for people to give money to? Does that make sense as a question?
Oh, yes, foundations, both corporate and family foundations, are required to give a percentage of their
Okay.
money each year. And so
Mm-hmm.
they always they
Are
send
looking
out
for.
a response for proposals, and
Okay.
that can happen anytime throughout the year. Some family and corporate foundations have specific grant deadlines. You need to
Mm-hmm.
go on their website, find out all
Yeah.
those details.
All the
However,
things.
some have rolling deadlines where they accept applications year round. So it's
Okay.
really a matter of doing the research and going on
Yeah.
their website to find out.
Yeah. So see, you every time you say something, it begs another question. So
Oh,
you got
sure.
all these things out here that, companies are
Hmm.
looking to give you money. There are nonprofits looking to get money.
Hmm.
Now, the middle person in a grant writing relationship would be the grant writer, right?
Yes.
So you have people who, like yourself, you write
Hmm.
grants. You actually go out, you do the research, you do all the things. Talk to us a
Hmm.
little bit about what you, as a grant writer, what do you actually do?
Yeah, be happy to share that. One of the first things I often do for clients is the research, because particularly newer nonprofit leaders
Mhm.
aren't sure where to start. And so I'm happy to do that for clients, and I do that regularly. And so I do all that legwork for them so that they're not having to do
Mhm.
put in all that time and effort of determining what grant is a right fit
I
for
see.
their organization.
Hmm.
From there, then I work with them, if they would like to, work with them to come up with a grant spreadsheet. So they have a calendar of
Hmm.
deadlines and what the high priorities are for
Hmm.
applying for grants. And then I help them write their grant. So I write their draft, send that back to them, get their feedback, make sure it's in the right voice, and that I'm capturing how impactful the work that they're doing in their
Hmm.
communities, because I want to make sure that we are telling a compelling story to funders, because that's really key.
Hmm.
Funders are about impact. They're not
Hmm.
just giving money. They want to see the
All right.
impact that
Love
their
it.
funding is going to have. So
Yeah.
being able to tell that story in a compelling way is really important in
Yeah.
a strong written proposal. So I help nonprofit leaders do that. Once the award is given,
Mm-hmm.
then if they want me to, I'm happy to help with reporting, because many
Mm.
grant awards require reporting either quarterly or at the end of the grant cycle.
Really?
So I
Mm-hmm.
help set up those systems to make sure that they're tracking the data, and that
Wow.
they can have a really robust report to give to
I
the
see.
funders to help maintain that
Yeah.
relationship. And that, chances are, if there's really great communication with the
Right.
funder and the nonprofit leader,
Mm-hmm.
that funding can keep going, because relationships are so important when it comes
Right.
to
I hear you.
getting funding.
Now, you said something that I was not aware of. You said that as a grant writer, once the money comes in, there are reports after. I
Mhm.
probably am not the only one that thought this. I thought that once you get the money, you're like, yay, here's your check. Woo, thank you. And you just go about
Mhm.
whatever it is you have to do. But you're saying you have
Mm.
reports after that as well.
Mm.
Oh, I just learned a new
Yes.
thing.
Oh, well, great. I'm so
I know.
glad.
Mission accomplished. I did because
Yes.
these people they're looking for the money. They get the money, not
Mhm,
realizing sometimes that there are reporting that you have to do over a long time. But it makes
mhm,
sense
mhm,
because if I'm giving you money for something, I want to make sure that that for something is being done. Another thing that you said
Yeah.
over and over, and I've caught it. Something that aligns with your purpose or your mission. So to me, that says
Mhm,
not all money is going to be for you. Is that
mhm.
fair to say?
You're exactly correct, Ricky. And that's why doing the research in the front end is so critical
Mm-hmm.
because if your mission isn't aligned with what the funder wants to provide funding for, then you're
Mm-hmm.
really wasting your time.
Yeah, I guess
And you
so.
don't want to do that. So
No, because then you have to
that's really
explain to
key.
them why, you were going to be feeding puppies and now you running a shelter somewhere. So I guess that makes sense. So,
Mm-hmm.
so,
Yeah.
Jennifer, when you're doing these things, what's the largest amount of funding that you've ever gotten for a client?
Yes. I got a grant for $600,000, so $120,000 a year over 6 years, so for a total of
Wow.
600,000. So yes, that was so exciting.
I
Yeah, it
know. And
was.
I'm sure the folks
Mhm,
that hired you were like, yes, this girl's amazing. That is,
mm,
now there are a
mm,
lot of reasons that people will hire a grant writer.
mm,
A lot of
mhm,
reasons for them not to, mostly because I think I can do it myself and it's going to be too expensive. Talk to me a little bit about
mhm.
if somebody wanted to hire a grant writer, what are two or three things that they should be looking for about that person that they want to hire?
Yeah. So, one, looking at their track record, going on their website, seeing what information is available
Hmm.
in terms of how much money they've raised so far, if there are testimonials on their website,
Mm,
going on their LinkedIn profile or on their social media posts and see what kind of credibility they have
okay.
on those platforms.
Hmm.
And certainly once you feel like you might have found a good fit, then having a conversation with them either in person
Yeah,
or via Zoom to see if you really click with that person
sure.
because it's so important to feel that you are being heard and that
Hmm.
you trust them and that you have a good communication with
Yeah.
them. And so that's really important as well to
Hmm.
ensure that it's a good relationship. It's going
Yeah.
to be mutually beneficial.
Hmm. So if someone's hiring a grant writer, how much should they be looking at to pay this person? Is it a percentage? Is it a
Mm,
sliding scale? Is it a one-time fee? How does
mm,
that work?
yes. It's not a percentage of a grant.
Mm.
I belong to the Grant Professionals Association. That's our national organization. And it's considered unethical to write a grant and then ask
Wow.
the nonprofit to give you a
Good
percentage
to
of
know.
the grant. Yes.
Hmm.
And so many grant consultants, including myself,
Hmm.
either have an hourly rate or have project based. So
Okay.
having a flat fee
Hmm.
of writing a grant or doing research. So for me, for example, I have different pricing options where
Hmm.
if they want me to write a grant that is a certain size,
Hmm.
they're typically, so for example, grants 10 to $20,000
Okay.
for a potential award, that would be a certain amount. And
Right.
then the price goes up in terms of the
Okay.
potential award
Yeah.
because they tend to take more time
Oh, I can
to
imagine.
apply for. So
Yeah.
yeah, so
Oh,
it's
wow.
so for me and for many grant consultants that I know,
Hmm.
it's there's different pricing options.
Hmm.
Another pricing option is to hire someone for a monthly retainer fee. And
Oh,
then that
okay.
person is on call for
Hmm.
whatever grant writing needs that you have.
Oh, that's nice
So
to know.
I do that as well.
Okay.
So
With
yeah.
that being said, Jennifer, do grant writers like attorneys and doctors, are you only able to write a grant within a specific area, or can you write a grant countrywide?
Mm. Fortunately, we can write grants countrywide.
Wow.
There's no
Okay.
stipulation. with that.
Okay, I love
So,
that.
yes.
So everybody
Hmm.
that's watching who's like, oh my gosh, I need a grant writer, you literally now know one. Jennifer, let everybody know where's the best place
Mm.
they can find you or set up an appointment or at least finish this conversation.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Ricky, for that opportunity to share. My website is www.grant slash or hyphen knowledge.com. And on there, you can sign up for a free discovery call. I have free grant ready checklist as well as another document where you can see what grants are make the right fit for your organization. That's another free opportunity as well as my blog. So
Okay.
also lots of other information. So please be sure to go on my website and check it out.
Definitely. Don't worry, everybody. If you did not get her information, everything is going to be in the description below. Make sure you reach out because did you hear the part? It's a free consultation. I'm just saying. And while you're out here, don't forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel, like our Facebook page, and follow us on Instagram. Jennifer, my friend, before I let you go, we're going to play a game. This
Oh,
game is
fun.
so simple. It's just a great way to get to know you and find out some of the
Mm,
things that you like. This game is
mm,
called This or That. I'm going to give you the choice
okay.
of a couple of things, and you, off the top of your head, tell me which one you like the best. Are you ready to play, my friend?
I am.
Let's do this. Or Burger King?
Ooh. I guess Burger King. I'm not a big fast food
That's
fan,
what
but Burger
good for
King.
you. It's better for that you're
Yeah.
not too. Coffee or tea?
Coffee for sure.
When you meet someone, what's the first thing that you notice about them? Their smile or their eyes?
Their smile.
Ah, very nice. Peanut butter,
Mhm.
crunchy or smooth?
Smooth for sure.
Yeah, I have texture issues. I can't handle the crunchy peanut butter.
Mm.
Hotel or a tent?
Oh, hotel all the way. I'm not a camping girl at all.
Not gonna be outside
Mm-mm.
glamping out in the, yeah, no, me neither. That's not my
Mm-mm.
thing. Read the book or see the movie?
Ooh, read the book.
Do it
Had to
yourself?
think a second.
Why did you have to think? Share.
Oh, because I love both. I love
Me
watching movies
too.
and I love reading. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Are
had
you
to
one of those
get
people that
twice
will
with
read
that.
the book and then go see the movie anyway?
Yes. Oh, for sure.
Me
Yes.
too.
Want
I
to
love
see the
it.
difference. Yeah.
Yeah,
Similarities and
it's so
differences.
bad. I do have to do that all the time, no matter what. All
Hmm.
right, let me
Hmm.
see. Our last one that we're going to ask is outside or indoors? And we already know this about you because you
Uh,
said,
you know, as long as I don't have to sleep outside, I'd rather be outside. But at night,
okay,
I need I
I can go with
need
that.
a roof over my head.
I don't blame you. I think that is perfect. And finally,
So,
what is the best advice you have ever given?
oh, what comes to mind is to remind friends and family that you are enough just the way you are.
That's perfect. I love it. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining me today. I am so
Oh,
grateful.
thank you, Ricky. This is such a pleasure. I really appreciate the
Oh, thank you,
opportunity.
ma'am. All right, everybody. That's it for this week, but we'll be back next week with more Faith on Friday Presents.